wind in my hair, feeling great, I come to the bottom of the hill, and I use my skateboard's remote to come to a complete stop at the stop sign. I continue on my way, and then I get pulled over by an officer and given a warning for riding a skateboard. According to Anna Marie in the journal Evolution, Education, and Outreach, skateboards have been a popular mode of transportation since the 1960s. They're quick, easy, convenient, and a lot of people use them. Unlike cars and public transportation, they have zero emissions and don't hurt the environment. Recently, a new trend has emerged, the electric skateboard. They can brake, accelerate, and turn just like a bike, but many institutions ban them, including Cal Poly. It's time that policy be updated to include new forms of transportation that are emerging. Cal Poly has strict regulations for anything besides a bike. Under Cal Poly's policy, Section 21, Skateboard Regulations, the use of skateboards, motorized skateboards, roller skates, rollerblades, coasters, and similar devices on the Cal Poly campus are prohibited. When I asked the officer why I couldn't ride my skateboard, which has brakes, because many people assume that electric skateboards are allowed, he said it's simply because it's a skateboard. Violation of this policy will result in a $138 fine and can go up to $360 for repeat offenses. You can of course get out of this fine. All you have to do is go to a court, get approval to take Cal Poly's bicycle and skateboard diversion class, get the certificate from that class, and bring it back to the court in an approved amount of time. This may seem harsh, but I like to think that it's public safety's concern to have our safety in mind. Although there are no specifically stated reasons for why Cal Poly bans skateboards, there are a few common issues that I'd like to address. Our campus UPD commander, Lori Hashim, supports the ban on skateboards because of Cal Poly's very hilly terrain, which would create a huge liability for the school if they allowed skateboards on our campus. This brings us to our first issue of a lack of brakes. Regular skateboards don't have brakes. Experienced skateboarders, however, are able to brake using their foot, which they usually take off of the board and put on the ground when going quickly to bring themselves to a stop. I'm sure many of you have seen these people maybe coming down the side of Baker really quickly, weaving through people, and then quickly put their foot down to bring themselves to a stop. This doesn't only not seem safe, but coming down a large hill quickly, this would not be an efficient and safe way to stop. The electric skateboard, however, prevents this issue by having brakes that you can access on the remote. Here's a video of me braking using the electric skateboard's remote. Although it's hard to see exactly when I brake, you can tell that I'm able to come to a complete stop and be in control when doing it. There are many different types of electric skateboards, but most of the decent, respectable brands have brakes that are comparable to those of bikes. This greatly reduces one of the biggest issues involving skateboards, which is the many injuries and even deaths that occur around the world due to skateboards. The second issue involves the skateboard rolling away. Regular skateboards are able to roll freely and can roll down a hill, hit someone's ankle, or even roll into a roadway and cause further damage. The electric skateboard solves this issue by having the remote, the Bluetooth remote, which can access the skateboard from up to 15 to 20 feet away, depending on the type of board. This can bring it to a complete stop when it's rolling away and prevent damage. The third issue is the issue of public damage due to skateboarders. In the Journal of Parks and Recreation, Chris Gilligan talks about the many different areas that attract skateboarders for different reasons. One of the main reasons being big flat surfaces are easy to ride your skateboard on, low rails or benches can easily be grinded on. There are many different ways to prevent damage from skaters. Cal Poly takes one method using these many leaves that I'm sure you've seen on campus. They're usually placed on the edge of benches, which interrupt the smooth surface of the edge of the bench, preventing skateboarders from riding or grinding along the edge. Other schools have been able to implement policy that prevent skateboarders from damaging public property, one school being California State University, Long Beach. According to their policy, they have a policy called the all wheels policy. This requires that skateboarders have all four wheels of their skateboard on the ground at all times. If this policy is violated, they can be cited. This basically prevents skateboarders from doing tricks or jumping off curbs or doing anything that could hurt themselves or other people. Since they've implemented this policy, they've noticed a huge decrease in vehicle and skateboard-related incidents and injuries. The final issue is visibility. Unlike bikes, which tend to have lights and reflectors on the front and the back, skateboards are very low to the ground and don't have these reflectors or lights usually. The electric skateboard, like mine, comes with lights that are on the top and bottom. But to prevent this issue with other skateboards that don't have this, they could require that skateboarders have lights or reflectors on their body when riding at night. As I said earlier, allowing skateboards is not a new issue or thing that schools have done. Many schools have been able to implement a mixture of policies that create social cohesion that allow skateboarders and people of the public to get along. As I stated earlier, Long Beach's policy with the all wheels policy is one that has done a great job. Another school is the University of Arizona, which according to their policy, they have instituted walk-only zones. These are very similar to our walk-only zones, except they're much more enforced. This requires that skaters and bikers carry or walk their device while going through these zones, and they have even implemented skate docks, which are on the left and right, where skaters can store their devices when walking to class or going into a new building. Another school is the San Diego State University policy, which has specific zones that are marked by this yellow line. It's kind of hard to see, but these are specific areas where bikers and skaters can ride. If they're riding anywhere outside of these zones, it's easy to tell if they're breaking policy. Through discussion with policymakers, I would like to be able to create a policy that suits our campus that could allow electric skateboards and maybe even regular skateboards. To take this into bigger context, there are many new forms of emerging transportation that have huge benefits to society. According to Yuan Yang, in a 2017 study on carbon emissions and transport policy in Beijing, transportation accounts for 23% of emissions globally. Another study from 2010, Jen Yang, talks about the huge boom in the industry of electric scooters and bikes. This was pushed by policymakers, which has created a huge reduction in emissions in China. Another example of benefits could be from self-driving cars, which, if implemented correctly, could reduce the deaths from vehicle-related deaths, which is one of the hugest killers in our society. However, many of these new technologies are restricted by harsh policies which prevent them from entering our society. I encourage you to keep an open mind when looking at new transportation methods and to look into how they can benefit you.